Today we're going to look at Magic the Gathering cards that are going to force you to do math. Hopefully at least 3 variables in the equation. And I got the Biogenic Upgrade. That's right, we are upgrading things up. It's a 6-mana sorcery. First, distribute 3 +1/+1 counters among 1, 2, or 3 target creatures. So any number of them. And then double the number of +1/+1 counters on each of those creatures. Plus the actual power, you gotta do a lot of calculation when you are upgrading biogenically. Or whatever. Okay, we'll go with bulky, superior numbers. It doesn't have to have, like, number in the title, but what do we got here? We have a green sorcery. Superior numbers deals to target creature 1 damage for each creature you control in excess of the number of creatures target opponent controls. Now we're talking! I have no idea what this card does. It deals to target creature 1 damage for each creature I control in excess of the number of creatures target opponent controls. Hold on, who's supposed to have more creatures, them or me? I think it's supposed to be us. We have extra creatures, so basically the stronger get stronger, the weaker get weaker. Hence, superior numbers. You have to have more creatures on the battlefield than they do. Go, you got it, token players? You'll be superior with the superior numbers. Hold on, it's only to 1 creature, deals to a target. Only 1 creature, though. Basically, green removal. Very interesting. Death by a bunch of tiny punches. Did we do Fireball? You know what? I really still don't even know how Fireball works, Jonathan. Outside of the fact that you can hit someone for 1. Like, where's the original Fireball? It had, like, a really funky casting cost. Let's go to the Ancients. Oh, no, it didn't, actually. Fireball deals X damage total, divided evenly, rounded down, among any number of targets. Pay 1 extra mana for each target beyond the first. Like, I don't really get what the hell this card does. I guess you have to... So, I pay 1 red, and then if I want to deal 2 damage to 2 creatures, I have to deal, like, 4 more? I have to pay 4 for this thing? I think? Or can I don't think I can pay, like, 1 to 1 creature, 2 for the other. Or, I don't know, maybe something to that effect. Nah, just target 1 thing. Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I would do in practice. I would be too ashamed to call a judge in a tournament. Judge, how does Fireball actually work? I didn't play during beta or alpha. And it was like, you know, when I started playing Magic, we had Earthquake, and it was just a lot simpler. Back in my day, Fireball wasn't even a thing anymore, because it was just beyond stupid. Alright, next up. It's divided very evenly. And it's rounded down. Ah, okay, so I better have enough mana for every single target, or they're not going to give me anything. You pay up, or you get... You pay up, or you shut up with your Fireball. Okay, like, welcome, Len. Welcome, everyone. Good morning. We got Heartless Hidetsugu. Heartless Hidetsugu from Nate. Which is a red 3 generic 4/3 Ogre Shaman. Tap. Heartless Hidetsugu deals damage to each player equal to half that player's life total rounded down. Again, the rounded down thing. Better make sure you know how to round down. So, to each player equal to half that player's life total. So can they die off of this thing? You round down. So it's like, okay, I'm going to take you half your life total of 1. You go down to 0. And then, well, basically, like, you're at 1 life. Well, that's GG. That's how it works, right? I think that's how it works. I'm used to math where you have to round up. I don't usually round down very often. No, the damage is rounded down. No, it deals... Oh, the damage is... Their life total doesn't go that way. Damn it! So we can't even kill someone at 1? What's that big cleaver for? You see, I'm already failing the math stuff. I'm mathing wrong. Math is very specific. You get it right or you get it wrong, and there's nothing in between. Read that question properly 3 times. I had a good friend who told me highlight the important things, and it says deals damage rounded down, not their life total. Okay. You're invincible at 1 life, but I wouldn't feel safe. All right, we got our first super chat from the Emperor, Centaur of Attention. Math on its own every turn. Even more math if you double ETB triggers from, say, Yarok or Panharmonicron. Panharmonicron, right? Panharmonicron. Okay, we have a green 3 generic Centaur Performer. It's a 3/3. Oh, it's not Acorn either. Okay, it's a real card. Enters the battlefield, roll 5 6-sided dice. All right, so we are working with a little probability here. And store those results on it. Everything is recorded. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may re-roll any number of Centaur of Attention's stored results. Centaur of Attention gets +X+X, where X is the greatest number of stored results on it of the same value. So I just can I can re-roll it over and over again. Doesn't it just get bigger and bigger and bigger or something? At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may re-roll any number of Centaur Attention stored results. So if it's like a 1, I want to get it to a 6. Gets +X+X, where X is the greatest number of stored results on it of the same value. Oh, so we want like, so if I have 3 6s, then it gets +6+6 or something like that. That is a very bizarre card. This is like legacy legal. I wonder how this card plays online, if it even is a card online. Such a bizarre thing. My math degree will finally show its value, says Nathan. Your time has come. This was the show for you. Whatever resonates with you is gonna be definitely part of the show. You're trying to get a Yahtzee. What is Yahtzee? All 6 of one type? +X+X, where X is the greatest number of stored results on it of the same value. I'm just assuming if like you have 3 6s, 2 2s, and like a 1 3, then you get +6+6 because that was the greatest value amongst all the dice that were thrown. I think. See, that's why you may re-roll, because you might get more of another number. No, it gets +3+3 is the amount, not the number itself. Oh, okay. So if we get 3 6s, we get +X+X. This is a damn confusing card, if I do say so myself. A lot of people look at this card and they're like, well, this is not exciting at all. This is terrible. What an abomination. Okay, next up, let's look at... Cosmic Seed says Dwarven Catapult. That sounds like such an old card. And it is. I am not wrong. It's a red X instant. Deals X damage divided evenly, rounded down among all creatures target opponent controls. But I now know what rounded down means. So if we do 1, then it does 0. It's like deal X damage divided evenly, rounded down among all creatures target opponent controls. That sounds terrible. Sounds like a bad earthquake. Bad earthquake is bad. Rated Lex. Thank you very much. Pucks, it makes you do fractions. I know. That sounds awful. Is it actual Pox? The OG. Okay, black, sorcery. Each player loses their mind. Am I right? Am I right or am I wrong? Okay, each player loses a third of their life, then discards a third of the cards in their hand, then sacrifices a third of their creatures that they control, then sacrifices a third of their lands they control, rounded up each time. Why would they make this card? This is awful. Yeah, it's basically, and then, you know, if there's somebody who's not very good at math at the table, they're like, I just have to trust you, you're not going to be cheating me over here. What is the real number? How are we going to calculate this thing? But it does say rounded up. So, like, how do you even calculate this? Just go 0.3, like, count up your numbers in the calculator? Let's bust out the calculator. Nikachu has to sacrifice a third of their creatures. I have 10 creatures in play. How? I guess you can go divide by 3. Would that work? And then that's like what you should have. You should have 3 creatures left in play. Or hold on, what are we doing? You loses. No, we're sacrificing a third of our creatures. Goodbye, 3 creatures. All right, divide by 3 is the best. I was thinking, do we like multiply it by 0.333333 for forever? But no, I guess divide by 3 is good enough. Every time Pox is played, a judge should be called over to do the math. That's right. The judges can help get Pox banned. Get it out of here. Does anyone realistically play with this damn card? Okay, next up. Is Battle of Wits really that I mean, in an awful way, I guess. In person, Battle of Wits. We got blue 3 generic. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 200 or more cards in your deck, you win the game. There's no loftier ambition than the pursuit of knowledge. But this is just mostly like counting all the cards that are not in your library. I mean, you could count your library. You could also count all the cards not in your library and just multiply it or subtract it from like, what, the 250 that you started the game with? 250, 300. That's usually the ballpark people play their Battle of Wits cards. Okay, next super chat we got from Elgot. Thank you very much for your super chat. Punctuate. Punctuate. It is not even a real card, but you super chatted. Red 3 generic instant. Punctuate deals damage to target creature equal to half the number of punctuation marks in that creature's text box. Oh god, so you have to identify punctuation as well? The punctuation marks are exclamation point, question mark, comma, semi-comma, semicolon. I don't know how to describe these things, like the dash, the long dash. We got like a open bracket, close bracket, hyphen thing, quote, I don't know, inch, feet, quotes, and a period. That's everything. Count it up! Count it up. That's for sure. Okay, Larry Law with the Spike Cannibal. Spike Cannibal. Welcome, Sebastian. We got black 1 generic. Okay, it comes into play with 1 +1/+1 counter. And when Spike Cannibal comes into play, move all +1/+1 counters from all creatures onto Spike Cannibal. But that's not complex. You actually don't do math here. Because, like, you put 1 counter on it, and then you just don't even... You don't have to count it all. You just put it all there. It's not like you have to add counters or anything like that, or recalculate the counters. Now, if all the counters that you move on also increased by 1 or something, then you do a lot of math. Outside of that, you're just adding up all these counters with each other. I could give you partial credit, because you're going to have to count up all the dice, but I don't think it's that bad. Thomas, we got Cherix. Ah, the big crab, right? Or big lobster? It's a crab. It's a blue 2 generic 0/17 crab. It spells your opponent's cast that target Cherix. Costs 2 more to cast. That's right. And pay 3. Cherix gets +X -X until end of turn, where X is the number of islands you control. And you can do this multiple times. So I have 4 islands. It goes to a 4/13. Then I can pay another 3. And it goes to 8, 9. Pay another 3. We go to 12, 5. If I got that correctly. Yeah, that math. I don't know if that math checks out, but this card checks out as being mathy. That's for sure. So that's the wrong. These sound effects are really close to each other. Thassa's Oracle, that does not require a lot of math. Unless you're playing a Devotion deck. Like, the only way Thassa's Oracle is going to count is you have a lot of blue Devotion, and you're literally trying to win with Devotion with, like, 30 cards left in your deck. Otherwise, I don't think anyone plays that card for the math. Okay, guys, Christopher B's Seasons Path. Or, sorry, Past. It's a green 4 generic sorcery. Return any number of cards with different converted mana costs from your graveyard to your hand. Put Seasons Past on the bottom of its owner's library. Does that math? I don't think that maths very well. You get like a 1, you get a 2, you get a 3. Like, that's not hard. There's no calculation involved. Okay, we'll go with maybe... Ooh, Xander. Lord Xander from Henrik. This one, when it enters the battlefield, target opponent discards half the cards in their hand rounded down. That's the scary part to all these cards. When you see the word rounded down, rounded up, I am not a happy camper. And then when it attacks, defending player mills half their library rounded down. You gotta do that every single time. You gotta calculate, so you're gonna have to count all the cards in their deck every single time you attack someone. That's frustrating. Okay, now how many cards do you have? Okay, now how many cards do you have? When Lord Xander dies, target opponent sacrifices half the non-land perms they control rounded down. This is a math professor. He's teaching you the ways of the ancient... He's got, that's a chalkboard somewhere around here. It's going to give you detention if you don't get those numbers right. He wants the numbers. Okay, next up, we got a super chat from Algot again. We've got Niv Mizzet. Well, which one? There's more than one Niv Mizzet. I just love that when I get a super chat. Niv Mizzet! I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Are you talking about maybe this one, Reborn? Where enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library for each color pie pair. Choose a card that's exactly those colors from among them. Put the chosen card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. I don't know if I'd call this a mathy card. Do you have a more specific Niv Mizzet? We could look at it. Okay, next up, let's go... The one with the equation and the flavor text? Hold on. Is it I think it's this one. It's the old one. Ta-da! So there's... Can we turn this sideways? We cannot. So there's like an equation here. I think if you... Yeah, so if you turn it like 90 degrees, the Z turns into an N. It says Niv... It sounds like Niv Mizzet number 1 or something like that. And your answer is no, that does not count. There's no calculation there. Although I'm sure Niv Mizzet also is a fan of the maths. It's combinatorics, not arithmetic. Still math? You know what? You got me. You got me. You know what? So even if it is a Niv Mizzet, we'll give it to what's it called? We'll give it to it's all math. Combinatorics. We'll give it to Niv Mizzet Reborn. I think you build your deck more around that. I just don't feel like you're doing a whole lot of calculation when you have, like, you got these 10 options. Pick the ones or what. I guess maybe if you want to maximize the color pairs you get. Okay, you know what? You talk the talk and you walk the walk. That's totally fine with me. MTG Arena is the MVP with Lord Xander. It does all the math for you. Oh, same thing with Magic Online. Digital Magic probably gave birth to this damn card. It's all fine on Arena, not even considering how it would work in, like, paper Magic. Laura says, years ago I used to play a deck with Corpse Jack Menace. Corpse Jack Menace. 2x of these on board just went complete mess. Okay, we got a black, a green, 2 generic, 4/4 fungus. If one or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a creature you control, twice that many +1/+1 counters are put on instead. I have no idea how this would work with 2 of them in play. Like, if you copy this thing as a token, so if one counter would be put on a creature you control, put twice that many, but then the other one says, like, the same thing. I honestly don't know how this even resolves. Weakness is not in the nature of the swarm. Like, I would have to see how it works online and then trust that just how it works all the time. Next super chat from Yo Little Ted. The Crackle with Power. Okay, we got a red. What? What is this casting cost? It's a red XXX. That might get me demonetized. Okay, we got a sorcery. Crackle with Power deals 5 damage. Sorry, 5 times X damage to each up to X targets. Your targets are going to be 3 damn things. That's hard to cast. What are you going to do? Just want to ping everything for 1? At most, you're going to, like, damage things for 2, for crying out loud. Does it have to be 3 different targets? With power up to, deals 5 damage. Oh no, at 5 times. Sorry, you only have to do it once. And it deals 5 damage. Actually, that's insane. This is suddenly broken all of a sudden. So 5 damage to deal 15 somewhere. Divided as you choose amongst everything. Past in Flames is not inherently a mathy card. The deck that Past in Flames usually is in played is a mathy deck. That's for sure. 5 times damage. So X equals 1. You deal 5. I got it, Pedgeman. I got it. I figured it out. I read the card twice. Reading the card the second time changes the card every time. That should be a saying on this show. Reading the card a second time changes the card every time. That's not how Crackle with Power works. How does it work then? Okay, it deals 5 times X damage to each of up to X. Oh, it's up to X target. So I actually go 3 mana for 1. I don't have to pay the triple if I don't have to. Okay, anyway, we're gonna move on. I like this one. Tishana's Hideous Laughter. Tishana's Hideous Laughter. This is a very mathy card. Oh, so it's not Tishana. That's it's someone else. Tasha's. Tishana's the merfolk. Tasha, I don't know who honestly Tasha is. I think Tasha is a dragon. Okay, it's a blue, 1 generic sorcery. Each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until that player has exiled cards with total mana value 20 or more. They reveal a 2 mana card. That's 2. Hold on. We bust out Nikachu's calculator. Where's Nikachu's calculator? Oh, that was 2 mana value. All right, that was a 3 mana value. That was an 8 mana value. Damn it. That was a 3 mana value. That was a 0 mana value. That was a 4 mana value. Okay, did we hit our quota? Until we hit total mana value 20 or more. Boom, we hit our quota. That's as many cards we're getting exiled. Very mathy card. Tasha is a witch from D&D. But this is the thing laughing. Okay, I guess Tasha is over here. I thought Tasha was, it's Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Or are they both laughing together? Basically, Tasha is a great comedian. Can make dragons laugh. Probably really fun at parties. The Emperor with the Rakdos the Defiler. This is a red, black 2 generic 7/6 demon. Flying and trample. When Rakdos the Defiler attacks, sack half the non-demon permanents you control rounded up. Why the hell would you want to do that? Whenever Rakdos, like Rakdos the Color Pie, the whole guild is going to attack. So whenever Rakdos deals combat damage to a player, that player sacks half the non-demon permanents they control rounded up. All right, so an eye for an eye. We're both losing our stuff here. Sacrifice. Oh, it's only non-demon permanents but it's permanents. My lands are non-demon. Oh god, that doesn't sound good. I'm gonna sack my damn lands. But I guess you could sacrifice everything, work on very few resources, and then you keep all your demons. You gotta be demon heavy. Gotta keep that kindle burning for the demons. Alright, next up, let's get... You know what? You're not wrong, Sazak. Scoot Swarm. I would never even play this card because of the math. It's a green 2 generic 1/1 landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you create a 1/1 green insect creature token. If you control 6 or more lands, create a token that's a copy of Scoot Swarm. And these things will be scooting everywhere. This is a card that goes from 0 to 100 in like no time flat. Yeah, you think it's all cute, and then all of a sudden there's Scoot Swarms everywhere. This multiplies exponentially like no tomorrow. Okay, next up we got Algot with the Gift Horse. That is quite a good gift. This is not a real card. What's with you giving me these, like, BS cards? Okay, Gift Horse. It's a contraption. I don't even know how that works. It's a 0 mana artifact of some sort. Whenever you crank Gift Horse, roll 2 6-sided dice. Create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to the difference between those results. I can't even speak on much on this card because I don't even know I don't really know how this thing works. Okay, I've seen a few. We got an exponential growth from here. We got an exponential. Who else is mentioning exponential growth? Shadow Link also mentioning exponential growth. Exponential growth. Are they literally going to make us calculate with exponents? Okay, it's a green XX sorcery. Until end of turn, double target creature's power X times. Okay, that is exponential. That's compound interest. So if we do it 3 times, gotta bust out that calculator. We double it? I guess it's easy enough. You go like, okay, it's 5 power times 2 times 2 times 2. Boom. So 5 power turns into 40. If we do it 3 times. 3 times at the same time, man. Next super chat from Marlene. Thank you very much for your super chat. Maddening Cacophony. It's always the mill cards. Paying the kicker cost count? Absolutely. Okay, we have a blue 1 generic. Each opponent mills 8 cards, but you have a kicker of a blue 3 generic. If this spell was kicked, instead each opponent mills half their library rounded up. Count 'em up! Count 'em up! Count up, boys and girls. You're about to lose half of it. That's right, I'm gonna get your most valuable rares. That mythic that you just bought today, Bobby? Not anymore. Not today! It's exiled. Or is it milled? Oh no, that's milled. Alright, well, reanimate it if you can. Reanimate if you got him. I'm surprised AA cards don't have calculus. Oh yeah, well, maybe they do. Dockside. I'm not gonna, that's a lame one. You just can't, you just count up all the, what's it called, the artifacts, right? Coat of Arms. That is deceptively mathy. Okay, you have a 5 mana artifact. Each creature gets +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield that shares at least one creature type with it. And then, like, if you've got, like, so yeah, for example, if 2 Goblin Warriors and a Goblin Shaman are on the battlefield, each get +2/+2. So you have to consider both the types, right? I think you have to consider, so they get, the Goblin Warriors will get, actually I don't even understand this the way it, if there's a Goblin Shaman, Goblin Warrior, each get +2/+2, but I thought it only affects, each creature gets +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield. There's only one other on the battlefield though, and they don't have Shaman and Warriors as a shared type. I actually, suddenly, I don't understand how this card works. I thought I did. I am completely wrong. Oops. And it counts and buffs opponent's creatures as well? Oh, God! Don't tell me that gets even more complicated than this. A banner for bonds of blood and belief. Goblin is the shared creature type. Yeah, but there's only one other. So each creature gets +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield that shares a type with it. So Goblin Warrior should get +1/+1 for the Goblin Shaman for existing. They don't each get +2/+2, as I'm understanding it. You know, that's how lords generally work. They are 2 Goblin Warrior. No, one's a Goblin Warrior, for example, 2 Goblin Warriors. Oh, they say, yeah, for 2 Goblin Warriors and a single Goblin Shaman. Okay, that's fine with me. Oh, and it doesn't count 2 types. I would figure the Goblin Warriors might count itself twice for each other type, but that's not actually true. Okay, that's good to know. That is, you got 3 goblins, they all get no, we have 3 goblins, they all get +2/+2. All right, that works. Okay, it's also at least. A lot of math words. At least, at most, rounded down, rounded up. Those are all very important terms. That's a very mathy card. Math card of the century. Yeah, me when we math. All right, Danny, I am so sorry. We already did Tasha's hideous laughter. You got sniped, Danny. These are my sniping sound effects. You like them? Yeah, we got sound effects for getting sniped. I don't know if that, I hope that doesn't encourage the sniping. But Danny, for your contribution, we will donate it to chat. We will give it to Nathan with Hinata. Hinata. Dawn, crown, to target all the things, then do the maths. We got a white, red, blue, 1 generic, 4/4 Kieran Spirit with Flying and Trample. Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each target. Spells your opponents cast cost 1 more to cast for each target. Oh god. And then Hope Rate, spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each target. So you have to like target so you do declare targets first, and then you have to count, okay, these are all my targets, subtract that from the actual casting cost, pay the costs. Then spells your opponent's cast cost 1 more to cast for each target. They target everything, then they add the math, and they do the costs. Unbelievable. We got, let's get something from Beanpod. Exsanguinate. Exsanguinate. This is a black X. Neat picture, love it. Each opponent loses X life. You gain life equal to the life lost that way. Honestly, it counts. You have to calculate how much life they lost. They lost it, and then you have to gain it and add it to your own life total. Okay, we're gonna look at more cards, that math. But we gotta first thank our sponsor, FusionGamingOnline.com. That's where you're gonna get them mathy cards. Also, if you can do the math, you can get 35% extra on your trade-in bonus at FusionGamingOnline.com when you sell your cards. But there's an even greater math problem that you should solve, and that is how much you're saving when you buy your singles for your Commander deck, Pioneer, Modern, and more when you use coupon code Nikachu at FusionGamingOnline.com. Get 5% off and also support the channel. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. Get a, I don't know, Hardened Scales deck. What's great about Magic Online, it'll do all the math for you. You don't even have to, I mean, ideally you do calculate. You figure it out before you start sacking everything in your Hardened Scales deck to your Ravager and buff everything up, because you might be left short after sacrificing your entire board. But I'll tell you what, Magic Online, they'll do the calculations for you. You can support the channel by using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or rent decks from Mana Traders using my coupon code Nikachu_1JV for 10% off your first 2 months. All right, back to mathy cards. Let's math it up. Okay, next super chat come from Crowcore Games, the abomination of Llanowar. An abomination indeed. We got a green, black, 1 generic, star, elf, horror. So we gotta calculate the power and toughness, do we? Vigilance and menace. At least we don't have to calculate if we have attack or not. Abomination of Llanowar's power and toughness are each equal to the number of elves you control, plus the number of elf cards in your graveyard. We have to keep track of things in 2 different zones. Also keep track of your opponent. Calculate if your opponent exiles anything from your graveyard. This is going to make an Abomination of Llanowar bigger or smaller. 5% is 5 out of 100. Yeah, but you're not always buying things exactly in chunks of 100, right? Sometimes you buy things in chunks of 50 or 76 or 69, if you get my drift. We got the aspect of the wolf from Apocalypse. Aspect of wolf. This is, it's a enchant creature. I thought it'd actually be a wolf. It's a 2-mana aura. Enchant creature gets plus star, where star is equal to half the number of forests you control, rounded down for power and up for toughness. What the hell? Why would they do this? Not only that, they reprinted this like 1,000,000 times. So hold on, if I have an odd so basically if I have an odd number of forests, where star is equal to half the number of forests. So if I have an odd number of forests, like I have 7, then that means my power is 3, but then my toughness will be 4. What an absolute abomination. Gotta check the Oracle text. The effect is continuous. Continuously updated based on the number of forests you control at any given time. This is terrible. Why would anyone even want to play with this damn card? Yeah, you have to constantly... Okay, I put 1 land in play. Now what is the math? I sack a land. What is the math? You blew up my land. What is the math? Oh, Aspect of Wolf wins for this category. Absolutely. That's definitely a mathy card. It's not a one-time deal. You know, I like to do when I do my math problem, I like that the problem is done and it's over. This one is just a constantly, it's like a math problem. It's some sort of equation that's constantly changing on me. Changes every day. Wake up to solve the new aspect of the wolf problem. Okay, now moving on. We've got Elgot with Tainted Seagull. This sounds like a real card. It is! It is a black-white, 1 generic artifact. Tap, sacrifice Tainted Seagull. You gain life equal to the total life lost by all players this turn. All the life? You gain life equal to the total life lost by all players this turn. I hit you for 5. I hit you for 6. I hit you for 20. 20 plus 6 plus 5. We got 31. And that is very, very mathy. Did I say Seagill? I did still say... What is it? Sigil? Sigil? I don't know. I don't even know what a sigil is. Is it like an amulet of some sort? New MTG cards will come close to having the math amount you have to in Yu-Gi-Oh cards. The linear equation canon. Shout out to linear equation canon, whatever that is. Nicolas Cage, the movie star. Hey, Nikachu, quick question. Did you do an AI stream 1 or 2 days ago? I swear you did, but I don't see the VOD. You will see it in 3 weeks. It is stored to be released at the proper time while I'm on vacation. Your eyes did not deceive you. All right, Kevin is like, I know it's illegal, but the ultimate nightmare of Wizards of the Coast customer service. The ultimate nightmare. Yeah, what do you people... Did they just do this as a joke? The ultimate nightmare of Wizards of the Coast customer service deals X damage to each of Y target creatures and Z target players. It is illegal. I guess like they just put all this goofy math stuff. I guess they knew some of these cards were too mathy, so they just put in the unsets. And just like, if you didn't want to play them, you just don't play them. And you play them if you want to play them. Oh, sorry, get back to you, Jacob. We got a bigger super chat. We got Crowcore Games with Oger Oxenil. This card is showing up on the show like every day now. With Sulfum or any damage doubler, damages for some reason is chosen by your opponent, so it can get very mathy with cards like Nekuzar. It's a red 2 generic 4/4. Trampling God! If a red source you control would deal an amount of non-combat damage less than Oger Oxenil's power to an opponent, that source deals damage equal to Oger Oxenil's power instead. Oh yeah, like someone gave this card in a combo, and I couldn't even wrap my head. This is one of those cards I have to see how it's played for me to internalize what it does. I really don't know what this card does. Like, if a red source I control would deal damage to an amount of non-combat damage less than Oger Oxenil's power to an opponent. Oh, so if I deal, like, Lightning Bolt, if it's less, I will deal 4. When Oger Oxenil dies, return it to the battlefield tapped and transformed under its owner's control. And it says, oh yeah, transform, only if red sources you control dealt 4 or more non-combat damage this turn, and only as a sorcery. Very weird. So basically everything is a 4. So for example, Bolt becomes deal. Yeah, I got it. But it gets very janky with the damage doublers. I'm not disagreeing, that's for sure. If the source does less damage than 4, it does 4. There's like a math term for that, like the absolute value or something. No, maybe I'm thinking the absolute value of a negative is just a positive number. But I think there's another term, like if it's less than this, then it's just like this number. They could have put it in there like that. I would have figured it out. Thomas, Hydra's growth. Grow it does. Green 2 generic aura. Enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on enchanted creature. At the beginning of your upkeep, double the number of +1/+1 counters on enchanted creature. Each turn, calculate again. Each turn, calculate again. Each turn, calculate again. Do you have a friend who, like, every upkeep, they have to do, like, a ton of math? And ideally, they should start doing that math on the prior turn so that they can just set the numbers properly on their turn so they don't waste too much time. Next super chat coming from Jacob Thune. Cathar's Crusade. That is a white 3 generic enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Honestly, not that complicated. It just, because you don't have to think about it. It's just this creature enters the battlefield. Okay, put a counter on everything. I guess it just gets a little weird if you have multiple creatures that enter the battlefield. You just have to keep track of all the triggers. So if you have like 5 creatures entering the battlefield, like from a token deck, then you have to put the counters on all 5. You put it like, you have 5 creatures, so they get 4 counters each because they all count each other, and then you give 5 counters to everything else. I guess that's the only way I could think of it gets mathy. Joseph, Blast from the Past. More unglued card, you fools. Filling this show with a bunch of jank. 3 mana, Madness. We have Madness, Cycling Kicker, Flashback, Buyback. Deals 2 damage to any target. If spell was Kip, create a 1/1. What a troll. Okay, Pedgeman with 1,000-Year Storm. 1,000-Year Storm. Would probably count as well, I think, especially with all the cards that also care about the number of spells cast or deal half damage total. That's totally true. Red, blue, 4 generic enchantment. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it. For each other instant or sorcery spell you've cast before it this turn, you may choose new targets for the copy. So it's essentially a storm card that as you keep playing it, you keep playing spells, you have to keep track of the storm, keep playing, you get like 4 spells, then 5 spells, then 6 spells. You gotta keep doing it on the same turn, though. It's basically, it's just helping the storm players. You know, they weren't joking that it was the 1,000-year storm. It's for exactly the storm players. Okay, Algot again with the Tchotchke Elemental, maybe? Maybe. Is this Tchotchke? And down their damn Acorn card. Okay, well, you paid for it. I'm disqualifying, like, anything that is, like, not paid for. I'll read this one. We have a green 1/1 elemental. Whenever you create a token or put a counter on a sticker on another permanent, put a knick-knack counter on Tchotchke elemental. Now use a unique item that completely fits on Tchotchke elemental for each knick-knack counter. Tchotchke elemental gets +1/+1 for each knick-knack counter on it. It's a wild card. Make sure everything fits. If it doesn't fit, it gets nothing. Okay, Death of a Bachelor. Arcane Bombardment. Arcane. It's so confusing, it might as well be math. It is math incarnate. Okay, Arcane Bombardment, a red 4 generic enchantment. Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, exile an instant or sorcery card at random from your graveyard. We got a little bit of probability on our hands. Then copy each card exiled with Arcane Bombardment. You may cast any number of copies without paying their mana costs. So whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell, we exile a card at random from the graveyard. Then copy each card exiled. You may cast the copies. This actually isn't that mathy, though. So you're just pulling them aside, and then every single time you cast a card, you just get copies of everything exiled. I would say this is disqualified. I'm disqualifying it. Fungi with a fiery emancipation. 6 mana, enchantment. If a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage to that permanent or player instead. And then imagine you get like these other cards that say double it, rounded, and then after that, double it, rounded up or rounded down. Okay, we got the Emperor with Split the Party. Split the Party is a 5 mana sorcery. Choose target player. Return half the creatures they control to their owner's hands, rounded up. Don't. I like the. Is it like split up the party? Is that like the premise to a lot of horror movies? Let's split up and cover more ground, and we may never see each other again. I like that though. Like, don't split up, except we are anyway. We did Coat of Arms. It's probably gonna be the thumbnail for my show. We got Stranger Candy with Oversimplify. How is it oversimplify yet it's gonna be mathy? Okay, we have a green, blue, 3 generic sorcery. Exile all the creatures. They're all gone. Each player creates a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token and puts a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the total power of creatures they controlled that were exiled this way. What? So we gotta, hold on, we lose all our creatures, then we're gonna count up the total power, then each creature gets that much power. It's not like divided as we choose. They all get a 0/1 green and blue fractal creature token. Oh, they only get 1 token. So basically, now I understand the oversimplification. We have basically, in some way, we downgraded everything to upgrade 1 total token. I am the battlefield incarnate. Hear me roar. In some ways, it is oversimplified. Also more vulnerable. Could just die to Doomblade. Alright, we got next, Emperor with the Bioplasm. Oh, what's up with Bioplasm? The Simic, they love their math too. They're very mathy. Okay, we have a green, 3 generic, 4/4 ooze. Whenever Bioplasm attacks, remove the top card of your library from the game. If it's a creature card, Bioplasm gets +X+Y. Oh, God. Until end of turn, where X is the removed creature's power and Y is the toughness. A star on a card not in play is a 0. What the hell? A star on a card? Oh, I see. Not in play. Okay, so Basically, if like Tarmogoyf as its power, if it's a creature card, Bioplasm gets +X+Y until end of turn, where X is the removed creature's power and Y is its toughness. Honestly, not very mathy. You just copy the damn thing. It's a copycat. This could have been for that. Could be for a clone show of some sort. Okay. Pegman with multiple Academy. You're not wrong. Academy manufacturers. This is an incredibly mathy card. Also, please check the rulings at the bottom. The third one especially. You will understand. Oh no, I played against this card. I played against this card in Modern. And I've played against like 3 of them on the battlefield. It goes absolutely bonkers. It says 3 mana, 1/3 assembly worker. If you create a clue, food, or treasure token, instead create 1 of each. And like it's just wild. Yeah, so if you create if you have more than one, if you control 18, what the if you control, how do we get this especially? If you control 18 Academy manufacturers, I don't know how. I don't know. You figure it out. And would create some number of clue, food, or treasure tokens. You'll instead create 129,140,000, and 163 times that many clue tokens. And the same applies to food tokens and treasure tokens. That is quite the achievement. You are the clue master, and the food master, and the treasure master. Basically, you can do whatever you want. It's only off of 18. Even 1 is pretty damn powerful. Like, 2 goes insane, though. 129,140,163 tokens of each type. It danger! Absolutely. It danger. That's crazy. Yeah, that's a mathy card when you have in multiples. So it's like, it's got that Scoot Swarm territory of complication. Kevin, you're never late if you're here at all. Okay, balance has been done. Actually, I don't think balance was done. The math is not that complicated, but you do have to calculate for a number of variables. So we got white 1 generic sorcery. Each player chooses a number of lands they control equal to the number of lands controlled by the player who controls the fewest, then sacks the rest. Players discard cards and sacrifice creatures the same way. I don't know if that's really mathy, to be honest. Like, you just choose 4 cards. You have 4 lands to play. All right, I choose 4 lands, and like the rest go to the bin. I think this is not particularly mathy card. Another one from the do we have other super chats? Nope. Okay, we do have a lot of super chats, so this show ain't ending anytime soon. We got Phyrexian Ingester. The ingesting, because it's hungry. Do I have to spell ingester? The Phyrexians. I didn't know they were so hungry. I thought they were like half machine around here. Just drink some oil, damn it. We have a blue 6 generic 3/3 Phyrexian beast with imprint. When it enters the battlefield, you may exile target non-token creature in play. Phyrexian Ingester gets +X+Y, where X is the exiled creature card's power and Y is its toughness. Yeah, not really like a mathy card. I mean, I know they use variables here, but we're not calculating anything. Do we count these? Like, they are variables. Maybe we are supposed to maybe we're supposed to count them. Okay, you know what? Maybe I'm being too harsh on these. Like, we're technically not countering anything, but you know what? Sometimes the math problem is just fill in for X and Y and then do the equation. In this case, we're not doing much for equation, but you do have to keep track of the power and toughness that was ingested by the Phyrexian. Frankly, it looks like it could do very well on its own without ingesting anything. Okay, I'm gonna count it. A fine card. It's got variables on it. And I will redeem everyone else who gave me variables in the past. DJ! First time watching in a good minute. Sold all my cards and started taking roids. Now I drive a Lamborghini. What the hell? What the hell is that? What kind of comment is that? Okay, we got Stanley with Paradox Engine. Okay, Paradox Engine, the 5-mana artifact. Whenever you cast a spell, untap all non-land permanents you control. Not actually a I'm thinking maybe it is. like, it's one of those cards, you know, float all this mana. Okay, do you know what? I'm gonna count it. Like, it doesn't specifically say you have math, but let's be serious. When you play this card, you are tapping like as much of your mana as possible, and then you're floating it, and then you're gonna cast a spell, untap everything, then retap it. Like, you tap all of your resources as possible and keep them all floating while you're untapping. So you know what? I think this is a pretty mathy card. Okay, next super chat. We got another one from the Emperor. The Emperor loves math, apparently. The Mimoplasm. Did you mean the Mimoplasm? I did mean the Mimoplasm. They understood what I'm talking about. This is a Sultai 2 generic 0/0 ooze. Enters the battlefield, you may exile 2 creature cards from graveyards. If you do, it enters the battlefield as a copy of one of those cards with a number of additional +1/+1 counters on it equal to the power of the other card. What? If you do, it enters the battlefield. I exile 2 creature cards. If you do, it enters the battlefield as a copy of one. Oh, so it's a copy with one of those cards. So I get like the abilities with a number of additional +1/+1 counters on it equal to the power of the other card. Oh, that is weird. So 2 cards. One I get +1/+1 counters. One I just get the creature. This is just weird. It's more weird than mathy, to be honest. I heard this is the new mathy card, the Millennium Calendar. We got 1 mana legendary artifact. Whenever you untap 1 or more permanents during your untap step, put that many time counters on the Millennium counter. But it will count it for you. But you pay 2, tap. Double the number of time counters on the Millennium Calendar. It goes from, I don't know, 15 to 30. When there are 1,000 or more time counters on the Millennium Calendar, sacrifice it and each opponent loses 1,000 life. Ha! Can't even beat infinite mana. Pathetic. Oh, it's definitely a mathy card. Absolutely. 3 cheers for the Millennium Calendar. Okay, next we got Algott's The Wheel of Misfortune. We have a red 2 generic sorcery. Each player secretly chooses a number 0 or greater. Then all players reveal those numbers simultaneously and determine the highest and lowest numbers revealed this way. That's not particularly complicated. Wheel of Misfortune deals damage equal to the highest number to each player who chose that number. Okay, so I guess if they are tied. And then each player who didn't choose the lowest number discards their hand, then draws 7 cards. It's just it's a bidding war. You bid not to get screwed. Yeah, not particularly math. I think we're gonna donate that one to chat. Uncertainty says if you would gain infinite life and choose less than 1,000, your creativity is horribly limited. Oh yes. What is everyone's favorite number to end at? I choose 100 billion because that probably gets out of range of most Magic the Gathering cards. I think 100 billion is a nice, good, clean number. It could be 900 billion, but I like 100 billion. It'll make it easier to calculate if I lose any life from there. I actually should choose 100 billion... 100... I should be 100 billion 100. Then I could just calculate my life total from 100. It's probably not going to go below 100 billion from there. Okay, Toads wants a bone. Where are you going, Toad? What do you got, Toads? Okay, break the calendar with the Devilish Valet. It is a red 2 generic Devil Warrior, 1/3 trampling haste. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, double Devilish Valet's power until end of turn. You double it again. You double it again. Put 5 creatures in play. Double, 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 double. Just like my coffee. Actually, that's not true. That's not how I drink my coffee. I do not have double doubles. I have, it's all black. It's plain as hell. Actually, no, it's not all black. A little bit of milk sometimes. Depends where I'm getting it from. If I can get milk versus cream. No cream for me. No, that's not good. Nikachu's racing for the bathroom. Or you don't want to be around Nikachu. Just don't be around. Or unless there's an open window or something. Very gassy. For Ginka, good evening, coffee crew. Bone Horde is a hell of a keep track of, huh? Okay, Bone Horde. This is a 4-mana living weapon. Equipped creature gets +X/+X, where X is the number of creature cards in all graveyards. Keep track of them creatures at all times. You got another creature? You got, or I could attack, and you'd be like, well, that's only 5-power creature. I'll block it with my 5/4 creature. But well, little you know that it counts all the creatures in your graveyard. So I'm gonna blow up your companion. I'm gonna blow up, I don't know, Susan's creature over here. Now my creature is a 6/6, and your creature is outclassed. I nominate the name for your calculator as Calculon. Calculon! Where's Calculon? Here's Calculon. Okay, next super chat we got from Crowcore Games. The Crystalline Giant, I guess. What does that mean? You guess. Crystalline Giant. No relation to Crystalline Sliver? 3-mana, 3/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose a kind of counter at random. That Crystalline Giant hasn't... Choose a counter at random that Crystalline Giant doesn't have on it from among Flying, First Strike, Death Touch, Hexproof, Lifelink, Menace, Reach, Trample, Vigilance, and +1/+1. Put a counter of that kind on Crystalline Giant. There is not a lot of math, to be honest, on this card. These super chats are not very mathy. Like, sure, like, the only mathy part of this is, like, +1/+1. Oh, no, wait a minute. Okay, let me take that back. Hold on. Do we have Double Strike on here? We have Flying, First Strike, Death Touch, Lifelink, Menace, Reach, Trample, Vigilance. Lifelink is a little mathy of a card, but that's it. Not very mathy. Does not meet my bar. Combat math, but it doesn't even have Double Strike. I guess it can have Death Touch and Trample might be something. Maybe. Possibly. It's on the weaker side in my... It's on the weaker side. Starfire Dragon. Burn at the stake. It's a red 2 generic sorcery. Has an additional cost to cast Burn at the stake. Tap any number of untapped creatures you control. Burn at the stake deals damage to target creature or player equal to 3 times the number of creatures tapped this way. I tap 4. I deal 12 damage to you. Simple as that. First Strike and Lifelink as well. Well, not First Strike. Like, First Strike First Strike is literally the damage that it's dealing, right? Double Strike doubles it. We got Austin here. Austin's in the house with Nathroi, Apex of Death. Negative values. How dare they give me a negative card in my game. We have Abzan 2 generic 5/5 Cat Nightmare Beast with Mutate for a black Selesnya and 4 generic. It looks like such an AI generated like cost. Death Touch Lifelink. Whenever this creature mutates, return any number of target creature cards with total power 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. What does negativity have anything to do with this? I did not catch that part. So whenever this creature mutates, return any number of target creature cards with total power 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Combinatorics, I guess. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Are you telling me... Okay, total power 10 or less from your graveyard. No, it specifically says 10 or less. It doesn't, like, depend on this creature's power. Do we have the right card here? Anyway, I'm not sure. But it's a little bit of a combinatorics card. Negative power lets you bring more creatures? How? Whenever this creature mutates, return any number of target creatures. Oh! Okay, hold on. With total power. Oh, I get it. Okay, but there's... How many negative power cards are there? Yeah, -1 is less than 10. That's true. So you can have, like, 11 power. Or you could have infinite powers of creatures because it'll never add up to 10 because it's negative. Oh, that's totally fun. That is so hilarious. That was such a... So are you gonna fill your deck with, like, negative... There's, like... I only know one creature with -1. There might be more. Certainly, I can't, like... Certainly, I'm not going to be able to build a whole deck around, like, only negative power creatures, but... You read my D&T trivia, not my card. Adrex and Nev twin casters equip Helm of Host if you really want to rack your brain. Okay, everyone can figure that one out on their own. That's a combo. We need one card. Or you can mention one card like this. Okay, let's look at Adrix. Can we get the... see if we can see something mathy here. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. Absolutely. That is a mathy card. I can imagine this plus other cards make this thing go bonkers. Anything with like, hey, double or triple or get more of this token whenever this happens, that's wild. If you can somehow get 2 of these in play. Okay, alright, now it's super chat time. We're gonna go to Jacob. City on fire. Okie dokie. If it burns to the ground, won't there be just 0 city? Red, 5 generic with Convoke. If a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage instead. They're getting the triple thing going pretty hard. Your creatures can help cast the spell. Alright, red players. Alright, goblin players. Gobbo it up. Goblin it up around here. Kranko knows how to cast this card. Okay, we got Crowcore Games with the Pyre of Heroes. Simple math. But math nonetheless. Sack a creature. Search your library for a creature card that shares a creature type with the sack creature and has converted mana cost equal to 1, plus that creature's converted mana cost. Put the card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Activate this ability only anytime you can cast a sorcery. Shout out to Birthing Pod, which is basically a very similar thing. We got Danny. Thank you very much, Danny. We got the Consuming Blob. We're gonna blob it up. Consuming Blob, 5 mana for a star. Did you suggest this one last time and I disqualified it because it was not a 0/0 card? Definitely counts now. Probably. Power and tough. Its power is equal to the number of card types among cards in your graveyard, and its toughness is equal to that number plus 1. Just like Tarmogoyf. At the beginning of your end step, create a green ooze creature token with this creature's power is equal to the number of card types among cards in your graveyard, and its toughness is equal to that number plus 1. Okay, so they're both Tarmogoyf. It's a Tarmogoyf that makes Tarmogoyfs. It's because it's all card types. It's exactly Tarmogoyf. It's a super Tarmogoyf. Tarmogoyf is coming to take over the world. Tarmogoyf has transformed, mutated into the blob. And now it's coming for everything. Including your... It's coming for your PlayStation 5. It's coming for your dog. It's coming for your house. Yeah, soon there will be triple strike instead of double strike. I do not doubt it. Still waiting for the ooze support. There's a lot of oozes out there. We got scavenging ooze. We've got... Yeah, I'm done there. I don't know. I don't know any more oozes. I'm all oozed out. Algot with the anime graveyard. That is not a real card. I know that. Well, I know what to get you for Christmas, Algot. Apparently, like silver border sets. We got 5 mana aura. Enchant the Graveyard. The Enchanted Graveyard is a creature on the battlefield with base power and toughness, each equal to the number of cards in it. So as it gets bigger, it gets stronger. This is the real blob. It has the text boxes of all creature cards in it, and it's still a graveyard, just like it would still be a land if it was a land. If Enchanted Graveyard would leave the battlefield, instead exile Anime Graveyard, and it just becomes a graveyard. You have another unglued, probably Morrow's Gone Nuts. Is that a card? There is a playtest card. We have a green enchantment. Double any effects that doubles. Also, it quadruples. This gets out of control really quickly. First you double, and then Mario gets double again. That happened, didn't it? You can become like a super Mario. Next super chat come from King Doofus. King Doofus is asking for Nick Kenzil, current conductor. Nick can do. The Conductor. It's a blue-green 2/3 Merfolk Scout. Whenever a creature you control explores a land card, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Whenever a creature you control explores a non-land card, put a +1/+1 counter on Nick Henzel, current Conductor. So whenever a creature you control explores a land card, normally you don't get a card. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Okay, so basically lands just go directly into play. And if we just explore a non-land card, we put a counter on Nick Henzel, current Conductor, but we also get a counter on the card that we just explored. Honestly, I don't think this is that mathy. It's like you explore, okay, you get a counter. That's about it. I mean, it might get more mathy if you have other cards combined, but itself by itself, I would disqualify it. It's not very not complicated. You explore, you get counter. One counter. That's it. Okay, so we'll donate it. We will donate. That's okay. When you get disqualified, everyone gets a card disqualified on this show. They've been there. We'll give it to Austin with Scourge of the Skyclaves. Negative value for Nathroi. Oh yeah, is that possible? Okay, we have a black 1 generic star demon with kicker of 5. When you kick the spell, each player loses half their life total rounded up. So that you gotta calculate that. And then Scourge of Skyclave's power and toughness are each equal to 20 minus the highest life total among players. 20 minus the highest life total. So it's dead immediately. In Commander, this card sucks. Wow, it's terrible. If you're at 40, it's already dead. But if you are, what's it called? It's not that if you're at 40, if you gain any life, so if you gain some amount of life in some way, then like it is in the negative values. So any of these star creatures that depend on your opponent's life total, they're basically stone dead. Cool card. Yeah, -20 in the graveyard. Is it? No, it's oh no, you're actually no, you're right. Yeah, it's 40. So it's just 20 minus 40 equals -20. I'm looking at this wrong. I've got the heuristics of playing this in one format to how it plays in Commander. Yeah, in Commander, it's -20, so with Nathroi, it's great! It's great! Next, we got Crowcore Games with Exchange of Words. Internet sounds. Not super mathy, but it can cause weird jank, and also it's legal. Exchange of Words. Okay, I'm gonna get my internet sound effect ready. Exchange of Words for 3 mana enchantment. The Exchange of Words enters the battlefield. Choose 2 target creatures. For as long as Exchange of Words remains on the battlefield, exchange the text boxes of those creatures. Those. But it's just not a mathy card. Like, where's the math here? What did you say? Not super mathy? I would say it's not mathy at all. You just pretend the other card is that card. For as long as Exchange of Words remains on the battlefield, exchange the text boxes of those creatures. It's like literally not mathy at all. Alternate Universe card. It's pretending to be you. It's a jealous card. Okay, so we're gonna donate it. Let's give it to Lowry with Sawed in Half. I guess it's Saw in Half. Oh, there we go. Black 2 generic instant. Destroy target creature. If that creature dies this way, its controller creates 2 tokens that are copies of that creature, except their base power is half that creature's power, and their base toughness is half that creature's toughness. Round up each time. So it's like a worm. You cut it in half, and now it's 2. That creature dies, its controller takes 2 tokens, and yeah, you basically keep cutting their power and toughness into half. It still moves around and stuff. Imagine Jace's legs actually still had something to do, while the torso had something to do as well. Okay, next up, we've got Steve Cooper donating 3 to the chat. Steve Cooper coming in for the chat. Okay, so we got 3 donations. We'll give one to Pedgeman. Pedgeman seems to be trying really hard to get on the show here. Wilderness Reclamation. You only got 1! You want Expansion Explode? I'll give you Expansion Explosion. I think everyone knows what Wilderness Reclamation does. People saying Temur Reclamation back in Eldraine Standard will know. Shoutouts to my boy, Mega Mogwai. Oh, you like Mega Mogwai? Big content creator. doesn't the guy play like Rune Terror or something like that? Okay, we got Expansion Explosion. Is it? Copy target instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost 4 or less. You may choose new targets for the copy. Then Explosion. It's a red, blue, X. Explosion deals X damage to any target. Target player draws X cards. I can't remember. Can you copy this? Or can you play both? I don't think you can. Copy target instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost 4 or less. You may choose new targets. I think you just play Explosion. But it's not the most complicated card, to be honest. Our next one. Oh god, you know what? I know what Ice Cauldron is. Shout out to Ice Cauldron. I don't even want to read that card. I'm getting tired of seeing that on my show. It's like, is this card messed up? Ice Cauldron! It's like always a card on the show. Joseph, body of research. Simple counting. Did we do this one today? We did. This was brought up 3 times on the 0-0 creature show, and it got disqualified 3 times. But anyway, I guess it counts this time. Blue, green for a sorcery. Create a 0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of cards in your library. Count it up. Count up that library. Summon to 4C with Paradox Zone, which is a 5-mana enchantment. Enters the battlefield with a growth counter on it. And at the beginning of your end step, double the number of growth counters on Paradox Zone. Then create a 0-0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of growth counters on Paradox Zone. Yeah, I love, you know what, I love words up to a point. I hate squinting for them, especially on really old, archaic, crappy cards. And it's like, it's less math and more of like, in terms of like the Ice Cauldron, it's like, it's less math and more just keeping track of like stupid mana costs or whatever. The Fox Clouds with the Mana Flare. It is a red 2 generic enchantment. Whenever a player taps a land for mana, that player adds 1 mana of that type to their mana pool. So you basically double your mana. Double your mana with the Mana Flare. Okay, back to the super chats. Let's get to Crowcore Games, who has Abzo wants Sunbird's Invocation. You owe Crowcore Games, Abzo. You owe him. Okay, we got a 4-mana enchantment. Whenever you cast a spell from your hand, reveal the top X cards of your library, where X is that spell's mana value. And then you may cast a spell with mana value X or less from among the cards revealed this way without paying their mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So when you cast a spell from it, reveal the X cards in your library to the mana value, and you can cast a spell with the mana value X or less. A little mathy. Just a very, very little mathy. It's enough. You have to calculate less, but it's not the most calculated type of card, if you know what I mean. Okay, we have Oger Tack, Deepest Foundation, Token Player's Dream. Didn't we do this? Oh, no, we didn't. We did a different Oger. Okay, this is a white 4 generic 6/6 god with vigilance. If one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, create 3 of those tokens. 3 times as many of those tokens created instead. When Oger Tack dies, return it to the battlefield tapped and transformed under its owner's control. And it turns into the Temple of Civilization. That can be tapped for a white mana, or you can pay 3 mana tap, transform. Temple of Civilization, activate only if you attack with 3 or more creatures this turn, and only as a sorcery. Triple them up. Triple them up. Okay, next up we got Dimitri. Dimitri! Protein Hulk. Is this really a math card? Hold on, it sort of is, if I remember correctly. Because you have to, like, calculate... Oh, no, isn't Flash the math card? So it's a 7-mana 6/6. When a Protein Hulk dies, search your library for any number of creature cards with converted mana cost 6 or less and put them onto the battlefield. Oh, yeah, okay. Then shelf your library. And also, like, the combo with Protein Hulk is also very mathy. It's a super mathy combo. Like, just looking at the combo doesn't make any sense to me, but once you see it play out, you're like, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. That works out. That combo checks. Ooh, Lynn, just ninja played this one. The Alondo, the Seer. Alondo. What are they seeing? It's a blue-green, 2 generic, 3/5 human shaman. With a huge ability, we tap this card. For 1 tap, we draw a card, then exile a card from your hand, and put a number of time counters on it, equal to its mana value. What, it's gaining Suspend? It gains when the last time counter is removed from this card. If it's exiled, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. It just had Suspend. Just say it had Suspend. If you cast a creature spell this way, it gains haste until end of turn. It's Suspend! We're not done. Sorry about that. I should have like a really long list. I can never tell when this show is going to go long. Okay, so if you cast a creature spell this way, it gains haste until end of turn. Then remove a time counter from each other card you own in exile. Oh, that's the only difference. So it's literally Suspend, and then if we get rid of if the last counter is removed and it's played, then we remove a time counter from everything. So it's like it's speeding up the process. Speeding it up. Okay, next up we got Emperor with Consuming Aberration. Isn't that like a bulk rare or something to that effect? Consuming ab. Oh, I'm thinking of something else. Okay, it's a black-blue, 3 generic star horror. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your opponent's graveyard. And whenever you cast a spell, each opponent reveals cards on the top of their library until they reveal a land card, then puts those cards into the graveyard. So suddenly, so whenever I cast the spell, this thing is you constantly have to recalculate what the hell this card is doing. Like how big it is. I cast a spell, it gets bigger. I cast a spell. All right, everyone mills. Is it just one? No, it's each opponent reveals cards until they hit a land. This thing is a milling machine. It's like a milling machine gun, as far as I'm concerned. Once you start going, I mean, it just doesn't stop. This plus Storm equals your opponents don't have any cards left in their deck. I guess, and you know what? We all know those commander players, they don't like playing with a whole lot of lands either. You ever bolted a Goyf? Math doesn't check out either, I know. Especially if there's no instant in the graveyard. Okay, we got another Emperor card. Emperor with Eve, Progenitor Ooze, super mathy if you storm off. Here we have another Ooze for the Ooze fam. We got Scavenging Ooze. We also have Eve, Progenitor Ooze, the 5 mana 2/2 Ooze with Storm. It's a storm creature. What the hell abomination is this? Okay, when you cast a spell, copy it for each spell cast before this turn. Copies become tokens. Eve, Progenitor Ooze isn't legendary if it's a token, and Eve enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each other Ooze you control. Oh my god! For each, we have to keep counting every single damn Ooze that I have. Keep pumping out Oozes. And then this plus Coat of Arms? I don't even want to be in the game. I quit. Yeah, you put Progenitor Ooze and Coat of Arms in the same deck on the battlefield. I'll just like, you know what? I don't know what's going on. I'll just concede. That's good enough for me. Next super chat coming from Algot. Oh, Saw in Half. We did Saw in Half. You got sniped, Algot, so we're going to donate that to... I don't think Vagilosphere got one today. Gaia's Avenger, which is a green, 1 generic, 1+ star, 1+ star. The power and toughness are each equal to 1 plus the number of artifacts your opponents control. It's actually a good chance this thing would just die on the spot. So this is the counter. Look, people, they already had the answer to Dockside Extortionist back in Antiquities. This is the answer. You'll have a ginormous Gaia's Avenger. You get me? Buy up your Gaia's Adventures. It's actually 66 bucks. Some people might have bought that for exactly that reason. Oh, you want to play Dockside Extortionists? Well, guess what? I've got... Oh, no, it won't work. They could just sack all their treasures and kill it. Damn it. Well, there's got to be some artifacts on the battlefield. All right, moving on. We got King Doofus. King Doofus has got Khan, I have Chaos. By the way, first time watching. But not the first time super chatting. Thank you very much, King Doofus. How chaotic is this eye? It's a 5-mana 3/3 Cyclops Berserker. Partner with Zender Spilt. There's literally no vowels in this name. Eye of Wisdom. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may flip a coin until you lose a flip. Whenever a player wins a coin flip, double a coon's power and toughness until end of turn. We got probability. We've got some arithmetic. This is a very mathy card. It is A+. It is A+ for me. Elgot, what do you got for us now? You got Soul Performer. Oh, we didn't. Oh, this looks familiar, but we didn't. I don't think we did this today. It's a 4-mana 2/2 Elf Performer. Tap at a double tap. Huh? Tap. Add double tap. Activate only once each turn. So what the hell? I have, like, more tapping to this? While activating an ability, use tap rather than tapping the permanent to pay for tap. I don't get it. How do I add double tap? Activate only once each turn. While activating an ability, use tap rather than tapping the permanent to pay. Oh, no, we're adding, like, mana. It's like mana. It's like tap the mana instead of actually physically tapping the card. Oh, this doesn't count at all. Does not count. Not really a math card. Ever. So we're going to give it to, we'll donate the super chat to F. Morlato. Mira. Protector. Protector Shield. Opponents miscalculate their combat damage. Will they? It's a 4-mana 2/3 Flying Vigilance God. Snow lands your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. Non-creature spells your opponents cast with converted mana cost 4 or greater cost 2 more to cast. So the big get even more bigger. And then we have on the other backside the Valkmira Protector's Shield. If a source an opponent controls would deal damage to you or a permanent you control, prevent 1 of that damage, and whenever you or another permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability, an opponent controls counter that spell unless the controller pays 1. It's not the most complicated. It actually has a lot of math to it, or I should say, there's a lot of abilities that have math, but they're not particularly complicated. Simple arithmetic. Okay, Emperor, what do you got for us today? Illusionary Mask. Oh god, it's one of those old cards. Ah, god! Ah, no, it's the Illusionary Mask. It's a 2-mana artifact. Pay X. You may put a creature card with converted mana cost X or less from your hand onto the battlefield face down as a 0/1 creature. Okay, so far so good. I can keep track of that. Put X mass counters on that creature. Well, what is X? Oh, is it like X or less? No, but I don't understand the X. Okay, activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. So what, X can be a billion? That creature's controller may turn the creature face up anytime they could cast an instant by removing all mass counters from it. This effect ends if the creature is turned face up. I don't even know what this card does. Oh no, I'm paying X. You can put a creature with converted mana cost X or less from it onto the battlefield. Put X so I say I pay 3. I don't understand why I would want to do. Why do I want you want to pay above 1? Read the errata. This looks like the errata. Okay, hold on. Is this it? This is blurry. Oh god, I can't even read the Magic 30 cards. X, you may choose a creature card in your hand whose mana cost could be paid by some amount of or all of the mana you spend on X. If you do, you may cast that card face down as a 2/2. Ah, it's going back to morph. Without paying its mana cost. If the creature that spell becomes as it resolves has not been turned face up and would assign or deal damage, be dealt damage, or become tapped, instead turn it face up and assign or deals damage, is dealt damage, or becomes tapped, activated as a sorcery. F this card. Moving on. I'm just donating this. I'm just donating the super chat. I don't even want to try to figure out even if it is a math card. Probably it is. Tommy with Tendrils of Agony. You got it. Actually, I thought this was going to be ad nauseum. This is not that complicated. Well, I mean, no, you do have to keep count a storm. Oh, you keep count of your storm, and then when the time comes, you drain your opponent for that much storm, and you gain that much life. Yeah, macho it's not even that macho texto. It's like, I don't understando. Like, where the hell does the period start and the period end in this thing? There's a lot of commas. This is complete lawyer speak, all right? This is why we hire lawyers, because we can't understand the damn law ourselves. Imagine Magic gets to a point where you have to hire a lawyer to follow you around the entire tournament. Like, I guess that in some way, that's what, like, to some degree, that's what judges are for. They are the lawyers of the game. They are the lawyer and the judge and the jury. Crow Core Games with Fleet Swallower. Fleet Swallower is a blue 5 generic 6/6 fish, and when it attacks, target player puts the top half of their library rounded up into their graveyard. Attacks, target player puts the top half of their library rounded up into the graveyard. Is like basically what's it called? It's a Xander. It's the fishy Xander. Maybe the Xander bit into this thing, took its blood, and then felt the power of the mill. The mill will condone you. I'm gonna give one to Marcio here with Mondrak. Glorious Demius with the plus Vesuvan Duplimacy. A lot of maths. Swap your counters for a calculator. We have a 4-mana 4/4 Phyrexian Horror. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. Also for 1 mana and 2 Phyrexian. Sacrifice 2 other artifacts and/or creatures and put an indestructible counter on Mondrak. You double your tokens indeed. Have we done Crater Hoof yet? Yeah, we have not done Crater Hoof. But it's not that. Crater Hoof is baby calculation compared to most of the cards we've seen today. All right, we've got World at War from Fungi. World at War. The 5-mana sorcery. After the first post-combat main phase, this turn, there's an additional combat main phase followed by an additional main phase. At the beginning of that combat, untap all creatures that attack this turn. Honestly, not the most mathy card. I mean, like, it's just regular. I mean, you could calculate how much damage you have to do to kill somebody, but you are, in general, just getting another combat and you attack twice. So I'm gonna donate it. Who are we gonna donate to? This is basically the last one. Got nothing. Do we do Marith? Will the Wild? Did we do Marith from George? There's a battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the amount of mana spent to cast it. You also pay X, remove X +1/+1 counters. Honestly, don't think this is the most mathy card. You do have to keep track of the commander damage, but you're doing that anyway. How about... Who didn't get a card? Who didn't get a card? Speak up. I don't think Bacon Catbug got a card. I don't know where Bacon Catbug got one. We'll go with Gil. Gil has Kyler. The Sigardian Emissary. It's a 5-mana 2/2 human cleric. Whenever another human enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Kyler. Sigardian Emissary. Other humans you control get +1/+1 for each counter on Kyler. That is mathy. All right, so we have to count up the counters on Kyler, and as they keep adding up, we have to keep adding up exactly how much power and toughness everything else has. It's like it's a damn anthem on. It's a changeable anthem, is what it is. Okay, and we got one more super chat from Algot. Is it gonna be another? Oh, it is another fake card. It's a little bit higher quality than the last one. Rainbow Dash. Very promotional card. How many of these did they make? It's a 3-mana 2/2 Pegasus. It's flying and haste. Whenever a creature you control with flying and or haste attacks, you get 20% cooler. We also have Sonic Rainbow. Tap. If you're at least 100% cool, that's like impossible. Because if you get 20% cooler, that's like 20% of 20%. You would never get to 100%. Add Wooburg, draw a card, and reset your coolness. I guess you just add 20%? but it literally says 20% cooler. Based on math, you will never get to 100%. Like, you will get close. You'll get to 99.999999999% cool, but you'll never reach 100%. 20% for each attacker, basically. So you get close to 99%, like, super fast. I don't think they worded this properly, that you can actually pull it off. I don't think it works like that. That's actually a design mistake on Wizards of the Coast. And I guess we'll end it on that. Does it add up? You get 20% cooler. When a creature you control, I guess that's how it works. Otherwise, it would, yeah, you're more cooler. If everyone at the table thinks I'm already 100% cool, can I activate it immediately? That is quite a funny one, Henrik. Quite a funny one. Oh yeah, you're right, John. 20% cooler than 0% is 0%. Okay, so I guess it has to work in their weird botched up math language. Yeah, I like that. You start at 0%. How do you get 20% cooler from 0%? You are at nothing. Get a financial calculator to calculate your coolness. Anyway, okay, we're going to end on that note. That was a very joyful, wholesome moment we had over there. And if you want to be part of the show, you got to be here 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Remember, tonight is actually the last night you could be here for an evening show, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on January 5th. January 5th, be there or be square. Also, just a reminder, I am going to be gone from January 10th to the 20th. I believe I come back on the 28th. Sorry, the 29th. So there'll be no morning stream until the 29th, from the 10th to the 29th. That's why I've been doing evening stream. So I don't know what you're going to do without me. I don't know what I'm going to do without you. And don't forget, I really thank everyone who supports the channel. If you're a patron on Patreon, a member on YouTube, or you super chat to contribute to the show, or even to donate to everyone who doesn't super chat, I really appreciate it, and they appreciate it too. And we also have to thank everyone who's here in the morning, like Tommy Siddons, Toad, Steve Cooper. We got Steve Cooper, David Sampson, Pedgeman, Silvercations, Bacon Catbug, Lord Trevor for Ginka, Mikhail, Mr. Deadhead, Henrik, Matt, Michelon, Christopher B, Crowcore Games, Danny, F. Morlata, King Doofus, Marcio, who else is here? Algot, John, Jason, Gillum, Fungi, Matt, Darkest Angel, Toads Jazz, because you guys are the show. And as usual, my coffee crew, keep brewing up them coffees, and we'll keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourself, and I will see you at the next cup.